Let's begin where all suffering begins, with a beautiful, believable lie that you are in control, that if you just try hard enough, think sharp enough, pray loud enough, you'll bend life to your will, that if you stay vigilant, if you grip tightly enough, you won't lose anything that matters. That love can be held like a possession. That pain can be avoided with planning. That death responds to negotiation. We're taught to walk like gods across a universe we barely understand. To conquer, win, protect, possess. To call the unknown the enemy, and call fear wisdom. But I invite you now to feel what happens when you unclench. Really unclench. Not just your hands, but your need to be right, your need to appear whole, your need to know what comes next. Breathe. There is something holy here, not in the answers, but in the giving up of questions. Your suffering isn't random, it's mechanical. It's what happens when the ego wages war against life. You see, life flows. It's a current, a river that winds without a map. But the mind wants certainty. It wants a blueprint, a compass, a guarantee. So it builds a dam, stone by stone, expectation by expectation. The dam becomes your identity. And every time the river tries to move you, you resist. You call it trauma or failure, but it's often just the sound of your walls cracking. And one day they will crack, not as punishment, but as mercy. Because behind that dam, you forgot the taste of wildness. You forgot the joy of being moved by something greater than you. You've been taught to fear collapse, to hide your shattering, to apologize when you weep, to call your surrender a weakness. But listen closely. The fall is not the end. The fall is the hand of the universe, undoing the lie of your control. Have you noticed? The most powerful moments in your life, the ones that changed everything, were never planned. They arrived like storms or revelations. They wrecked your schedule, but gave you back your soul. Sometimes the mess is the miracle. Sometimes being lost is the most direct path to being found. But only if you stop running. Only if you let go. That's the first door. You don't open it with effort. You open it with surrender. You don't walk through it with answers. You walk through it empty. And what meets you there is not an end, but the beginning of a life you don't need to control, to deeply trust. You've probably felt it, that subtle gnawing ache. It wears many faces: loneliness, ambition, jealousy, even the pursuit of spiritual growth. It tells you something is missing, that you are incomplete, and that if you just try a little harder, you'll finally arrive. But this ache is not a problem. It is a compass, pointing not to more effort, but to the futility of the chase. Let's tell the truth. Desire is a trickster. It's a ghost that whispers, just over that hill, just after that next achievement, you'll finally be enough. But what if the hill keeps moving? What if the finish line was always an illusion? More love, more followers, more peace, more clarity, even more surrender. Yes, even the desire to be fully surrendered can be another mask the ego wears. You can chase stillness so loudly, you drown out silence. You can hunt for truth so ferociously that you miss it whispering beneath your breath. Desire isn't bad. It's just misdirected awe. It's the soul trying to remember the infinite by grabbing for finite things. But the infinite cannot be held. It can only be become. There's a great reversal that happens the moment you stop chasing. The moment you drop the bait, the fish come to you. When the grasping ceases, you become gravity, because wanting repels. It says, I lack. But emptiness attracts. It says, I am already whole. It's not logic, it's energetic law. Like the moon never chasing the tide, but pulling oceans with silence. Like a tree never begging the birds, and yet becoming their home by simply being still. Let's imagine something radical. What if you never needed to be more than you are right now? What if the ache wasn't a flaw, but a doorway? What if every time you reached for something outside yourself, you were stepping further from the treasure already beating in your chest? Breathe. Letting go isn't about lack. It's about abundance so complete that it doesn't need to prove itself. It's not poverty. It's sacred sufficiency. The kind that sits under a starlit sky and doesn't need to name the constellations to feel their majesty. When you stop asking for more, you hear the quiet voice that's been whispering all along. I was never trying to withhold. I was waiting for you to stop running. Now we turn inward to the greatest illusion of all, the self. The one you think is thinking, the one who wants, the one who listens to this very sentence. But who is listening? Who is behind the eyes? And if you can observe your thoughts, your feelings, your entire life unfolding, then what exactly are you? Let that mystery breathe. Let's step into a riddle. What is watching cannot be what is being watched. Sounds obvious, but follow it all the way down. You can watch your hand. You can observe a thought. You can feel a fear, and even notice the fear about the fear. But if you can observe it, it isn't you. Even your idea of self is an object floating in awareness. So who is watching the watcher? Who is watching the one who thinks it is watching? Now, here's the twist. The paradox. In duality, there's a subject and an object, a seer and the seen, a me and everything else. But this split is only real in the dream. Outside the dream, there is no watcher and watched, only watching. Like a candle that lights itself, like a song that sings its own echo. You are not a thing inside the world, looking out. You are the looking itself, the light behind both shadow and flame. This is why the mind can't find the truth, because the mind is the thing being watched. A mirror never sees its own reflection, but it reflects everything else perfectly. In the same way, you cannot see your true nature, because you are it. There's nothing outside you to turn and look at, and yet it knows. It moves the breath. It hears the silence between words. It feels the stillness even in chaos. And it has no name. You can't hold it. You can't define it. But you can rest in it. Like sky resting in its own vastness. Like space being perfectly content to never be filled. So stop searching for the one watching and be the watching. Not as a technique, not as a practice, but as the spontaneous, effortless truth that never began and never ends. So what happens when you finally stop pretending? When the image cracks, the spiritual one, the strong one, the one who's got it together. What happens when you stop trying to hold the universe in your hands? Collapse. Beautiful. Necessary. Sacred collapse. Let the listener breathe. Falling apart is not the opposite of healing. It is healing. It is the intelligence of life disassembling everything false so that only the true can remain. Have you ever noticed? A cracked seed is what allows a tree to grow. A burned forest is what gives birth to new soil. A broken heart is what finally lets love in without conditions. We spend so much time trying to avoid breaking. But what if the crack is the only place the light can enter? We are a species addicted to fixing. Fix the body, fix the mind, fix the story. But not everything broken is a problem. Some things are meant to stay unmended, because in their brokenness, they tell the truth. There is nothing more honest than a voice that shakes while speaking. Nothing more trustworthy than tears that have no agenda. Stop trying to hold it all together. Your ruins are holy. Your unraveling is sacred. The universe isn't asking for your perfection. It's asking for your nakedness. Now we return to the simplest word, the most misunderstood word, surrender. Surrender is not submission. It is not defeat. It is not giving up. It is giving in. Giving in to the current you were always meant to float in. Giving in to the reality that what's meant for you does not require a fight. Surrender is not weakness. It is the highest courage. The courage to trust what you can't see. To leap without knowing where you'll land. To fall into yourself without needing to be caught. Letting go does not mean you lose control. It means you stop pretending you ever had it. And in that moment, in that beautiful, terrifying moment, you touch something deeper than understanding. Something older than words, stronger than belief, quieter than silence. You touch reality without filters, and it welcomes you like it always has, with arms made of sky and breath made of stars. You came here searching for power, not the kind that shouts, not the kind that wins, but the kind that needs nothing and changes everything. Letting go is not the end of the journey. It is the disappearance of the path itself. When you let go of control, you find guidance. When you let go of needing, you find abundance. When you let go of identity, you find infinity. You don't need to know who you are to be fully alive. In fact, it's better if you don't. Because the moment you name yourself, you shrink. You become the echo of a truth you haven't yet touched. There's a reason mystery feels sacred, because it is. It's the edge of your mind where language breaks and something vast begins. That vastness is you. Not a you can think about, but a presence older than thought. A clarity deeper than explanation. So let the final thing you let go of be the idea that there's anything left to let go. You've never been separate, not from God, not from love, not from life. Even your seeking was grace in disguise. Even your mistakes were footsteps toward awakening. Let that in. Let it all in. And then release even that. There's a moment beyond effort, beyond method, beyond understanding. It cannot be taught, only pointed to. It's the moment when you stop trying to experience life and instead become the experiencing itself. A flame with no wick, a presence with no past, a gaze with no eyes. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, remembering it was never divided. So here's the final invitation. Do not chase silence. Do not chase awakening. Do not chase freedom. Just notice that everything you long for is already breathing you, and always has been. The search is over, but the mystery has just begun. You are not walking toward truth. You are truth walking. Let that land. Let that echo inside you until even the echo dissolves. And what remains isn't peace, isn't bliss, isn't enlightenment. It is the thing before all those things. It is what you are when nothing else remains. A presence so still, the universe leans in to listen.